Hi, let's talk a little bit about gray days uh, or days when you may not be feeling great or in the mood and you still have your goals to achieve and plenty of activities and you're thinking about how to deal with it and how to go about it and how to survive the day. Maybe it's just the day. Um, and so, thoughts on how to afford giving yourself some grace. And that's what I would like to cover initially here uh, today. And um, it is pretty hard to balance self grace with the goal pursuit. And you must treat grace not as a hall pass for laziness, but as basically a strategic tool to prevent burnout and pretty much to sustain long term momentum. So, I would like to cover some of the aspects and then break down in the next few minutes or chapters how this grace to goal balance can work, starting with the tension that why we fear grace. And we're told that basically, as we're saying, we if we aren't grinding, then we're falling behind, or we treat self grace like a trip to lazy town. But actually, the truth is, being your own harshest critic is a recipe for performance anxiety. And fear of failure is basically something that eventually stops you in your tracks. And so self grace isn't about lowering your standards, it's about adjusting your pace so you don't quit. So that's the main idea. And the next aspect that we can cover is what we can call or we can coin active grace. And this is the next step in terms of achieving something. And um, so the idea here is grace is accepting where you are right now without giving up on where you want to go. And it's the difference between saying I'm a failure because I missed my workout, for example, and I missed my workout because I was exhausted. So adjust my schedule for tomorrow. So if you think about that as like the rule, so afford yourself grace for factors you can't control, for example, illnesses, emergencies, unexpected setbacks, but stay disciplined with factors you can control. Um, and then, of course, if you we're talking about grace, let's talk about the psychology of compassionate motivation. So um, there is plenty of research indicating that self compassionate people are actually more likely to achieve their goals. And why? Because they don't waste energy on shame spirals, basically. Um, so, an actionable tip here is to use the best friend test. So, if you wouldn't say it to a friend who's struggling but trying their best, don't say it to yourself. So replace what's wrong with you with how can I help myself? get back on track. The next point would be building like accountability guardrails. So to keep your eyes on your goal, you need a system, not just a mood. And that's why we talk many times about the 1% rule, but here let's talk about the 90 to 10 rule. So if you spend 90% of your energy pursuing your goals and 10% managing the obstacles that require grace, that can help. And you can kind of edit your to-do list. So on days where you need grace, do one thing you're proud of. So back to the 1%, one period, rather than trying to be superhuman. And yeah, let's come to last idea here about the long game. So you're pretty much bigger than your last mistake, and giving yourself grace is an investment in your future and in your future self stamina too, and keeping your eyes on the horizon, but be kind to your feet while you're walking the path. And don't just set goals, set a plan for how you treat yourself when the plan fails. Yeah, so you shouldn't expect yourself to fail. You just make sure that you're not only planning for your goals, but also for some days when you need to give yourself some grace. Okay, so these are some ideas that I hope helps on harder days, and with time you can adapt to your own ideas. And if you have other ideas that you would like to include here at the bottom, we can discuss them together as soon as we start having our community sessions. All right. Hope you're having a nice day. And if you have any questions, you can also write them down to make sure we know what we can cover per subject, such as giving yourself grace, and include in future discussions. Or if you have any ideas or any burning needs and topics you would like to discuss, yes, you're very welcome to include them in the comments. All right. That's it for today. And I hope you're feeling full of energy, if not today, in the very near future.